Welcome inside the locker room on a Monday morning here on the Smooth Breakfast on Smooth 98.1. We love music, we love life, we love sports as well. And what a weekend of sporting action it has been, from football to American football and everything in between. Welcome into the sporting side of life. My name is Ayokunmi. It's great to have you join us as we start the week. We kick things off. You know it's going to be a fun-filled show. Joining me, as she always does, to give us some insight into what's been going on over the weekend, keeping us up to date and up to speed, is the one and only. I'm not sure how many packs she's up to right now. Tega Supreme. Tega, good morning to you.
Good morning. I wanted to say thank God it's Monday, but hey, it's too early in the week.
It's too early, I beg. Please, it's too
It's too
early.
early. However, so many crazy things, so many sporting events, starting from the Winter Olympics where presented at the Winter Olympics to Americans. In fact, American social media is where you should be right now if you don't have any drama in your life. Because there's one side of the divide that's saying, yes, the athletes are right to feel bad for how America is, and they're not wrong to say it on the stage. The other people saying this is unpatriotic with their supreme leader. And so there was that. And then, whilst everybody was debating whether Americans should use their platform to protest, which is very American, that's the American thing to do.
Mm.
Um, Lindsey Vonn now comes on to do her skiing and she breaks her leg. She had to be airlifted.
Ouch. Ah,
Now, there was all kinds of meltdown going on. First of all, remember she had retired and then she came back and she's 41. And then only a few weeks before the Winter Olympics, she tore her ACL in one leg. And people were saying, how are you
come
going to
on.
compete with the ACL? But it turns out, after all the analysis, it wasn't the ACL that caused her to crash. She took a corner too fast because prior to the crash that broke her leg and she had to be airlifted, she had finished 11th and 3rd. So this 41-year-old with one ACL finished one race with in 3rd position.
Hmm.
I think her enemies just so far, they're like, you cannot do this. This will be too wicked and incredible. But she took a bend too quickly. I think she was pumped up a little bit, and then her ski, what's it called? The one used to move. I've forgotten what the name is. They told us, when you're watching the Winter Olympics, they tell you every single equipment. It wrapped around uh one of the flags, and so she broke her leg. But yes, they said
Man.
she's safe, she's fine, and she's already done the first part of the surgery, so all is well that ends well. Um, so that was the one end, and then there was another meltdown on American social media yesterday because apparently there is a Bad Bunny moving around the United States of America. I knew nothing about this Bad Bunny. I don't know anything
We
about
talked about
rabbit,
this on Friday.
but it turns out there was a complete meltdown because Americans don't even know that Puerto Rico is part of their country. Shocker! Some people said they should deport the bunny. And people were like, deport him to where? He's American. You know? So whilst there was that going on, he performed at the halftime show. Now, I could try to tell you about the halftime show performance that happened last night. A lot of people were talking about it. Apparently, we lost a lot more viewers after watching the halftime show than and a lot more viewers came on for the halftime show. Then we lost them again, so they weren't there for the football apparently. But solo un poco español, it's not very good. So I cannot tell you anything about halftime show.
Oh my goodness. I'm trying to keep it all together here.
So I can only tell you about the football, which we are going to talk about today. All right. So there was the football. There was also the drama. Whilst there was all the meltdown and all of that happening in America, there was also the drama that happened in the English Premier League. Should a
Hmm.
red card have stood, or should they have just counted the goal and moved on with their lives? All right. We'll talk about that today. We'll also talk about what's happening in the world of tennis. Um, and there was a Davis Cup in Nigeria. We'll touch just a little bit on that one. And then we'll talk about all the midweek matches that will be coming up in the English Premier League this week. All of that and more makes for an exciting locker room. Now, do you understand what I wanted to say? Thank God it's Monday.
I feel you on that one, Tega. Well, talking about what's going to go down in the locker room this morning, we need to get you in. You need to come in here and give us your thoughts, as you always do. Join us on YouTube. Join us on WhatsApp as well. The WhatsApp number is 0911 999 0981. 0911 That is the WhatsApp number. Now on YouTube, we're streaming live and direct. Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Just leave all your comments there. We always love to read from you. Uchenna Wokoye and Patripayo and LK are already seated, ready to go. We'll get to you guys in a moment. But let's head to the US of A. It was Super Bowl weekend where the Seattle Seahawks produced a devastating defensive display to beat the New England Patriots and claim their second Super Bowl victory.
Now, a lot of people are calling this the revenge, but I know if it's not for me, it's not revenge if the key parties were not there. So the last time Seattle Seahawks and the New England Patriots met, it was when Tom Brady won one of his rings, and there was a major call. There was a huge call. Everybody was complaining about it that people are rigging this election for Tom Brady. Anyway, bottom line, they did not win it. So and Malcolm Butler, he was crying. Yesterday, I saw him smiling for the first time. I was like, "Is this what you look like when you smile?" Because the only time I ever saw him was crying during the Super Bowl for losing the Super Bowl and for the call. So people were talking about, oh, it's a revenge mission. I was like, it's not a revenge mission if Butler is retired and Tom Brady is retired. Like, it has to be revenge if the people that lost and won are a second party. But some people still say it's a revenge because, at the end of the day, the city won what they were supposed to win. But
Mm,
yes, we got to a final where I would say both teams were not the most excitable teams. I've seen more exciting matchups. For the Patriots, they took like the easiest. You know how it is. Sometimes you just get some lucky draws. So you get like an easy route, and some before you know it, you get to the final. But I don't argue with people that do that because you only beat the man in front of you.
correct.
You can't go and wake up a man and say, "Give me the strongest man." No, you beat the team in front of you, and they beat all the teams in front of them and got to the Super Bowl. Um, for the Seahawks, their defense was always great. People were like, this offense is not the best offense I've seen, but their defense was always great. So it wasn't going to be that excitable Super Bowl game. And at the end of the day, truth of the matter, we didn't even get a touchdown till maybe the third quarter. So really, like I said, it was defensive display by both teams. Not anything that could really, light up the fireworks. So yes, a little bit underwhelming on that end. But if you're a fan of defense like I am, when you see that one quarterback, and yes, he's a young, cute quarterback, and I was supporting his young career. But when you see that he's been sacked 6 times, you're like, how do you get to the Super Bowl being sacked so easily? But yes, that's what usually happens. So great defensive display by both teams. Unfortunately, the Patriots did not have anything going for them in offense, and because they had a very young quarterback, the second youngest quarterback in the Super Bowl, in Drake May, and he's the young quarterback I was supporting. But I knew after watching the championships, I knew that today was not the day they were going to beat him silly. And boy,
Right.
did they beat him. I said they sacked him 6 times, they sacked him 7 times. He didn't
That's just
even have time.
ridiculous.
In fact, there was one time he was being protected, but the defender came at his protector and him, one hand for each man. It was the most embarrassing sack I've seen in my life. Like the guy picked both of them like they were dolls, like we're rag dolls, and slammed them to the ground. One
That's just
hand for
rude.
each man. That's just rude. So yes, very bad day. I think his parents would tell him, "Oh, you did great. At least you made it to the Super Bowl." But the display in the Super Bowl, he was clearly overwhelmed. It was not his day. But congratulations to the Seattle Seahawks, winning the championship. It was a great defensive display, not the greatest offense I've seen, but ultimately they've won their own Super Bowl. So congratulations to them. Let's see how it moves on from them. Like I said, don't ask me about halftime. My Spanish is not so great.
No hablo español. Let's keep it moving
Mm-hmm.
like that. Let's keep it moving like that. All right. All right. From the Super Bowl, let's head over to the world of tennis and talk about Emma Raducanu, who was swept aside 6-love, 6-2 by Romanian Sorana Cârstei on Saturday in the final of the Transylvania Open. That's the Britain's first title match since her shock victory at the US Open in 2021. Like, wow.
My darling, she hadn't. That's what we're counting. Her first quarterfinal since US Open 2021. Her first semi-final since US Open 2021. Her first final since US Open 2021. So in Costa was like, I'm tired of people counting. Oh, yeah, come and take your beating and go. You have you have to understand. Costella is retiring this year, and so this is like her farewell tour. And she was playing at home. So no
Mm.
better place for her to perform. But notwithstanding that, you'd expect that Emma Raducanu coming into her final would put in one of her most brilliant performances. It was one of her most shocking performances. 6-love, 6-2. This elderly
Man.
woman that is on her way to retirement home just brushed you aside. So not a great performance, but that is the most Emma Raducanu thing to do. She's the one athlete that has promised so much and delivered so little. But she is still one of the most successful British women on the British tour since the 1970s because of that one US Open win. So
That is
ultimately,
that is ridiculous. Come on.
I'm telling you. So again, this result was the most Emma Raducanu result. But yes, a lot of tennis tournaments going all around the world. The WTA Open in Doha, the 1000 Masters WTA in Doha started yesterday. So whilst this was wrapping up, and the tournament in Doha was wrapping up, which Behek won. The 1000 Masters started yesterday, and we've already seen some brilliant matches there. But whilst all those were going on in the Middle East, in Nigeria, Nigeria faced Uzbekistan in the Davis Cup, and to the surprise of a lot of people, Nigeria beat the Uzbekistan team by 3-1. Now, here's what is fascinating about Uzbekistan. They came with their captain. If you are one of those that have watched the ATP for a while, do you remember a certain Dennis Istomin? He beat Novak Djokovic 1 year like that in the
Huh.
quarterfinal. Yes, of a 1000 Masters, I think, of an ATP tournament. Anyway, he's the captain of the side, and he also played in the match, and he was beaten by the Nigerians. So hey, let's say big one by the
We'll take the
Nigerian
win.
men.
We'll
It will
take the
take the
win.
win. So Nigeria has won that stage, and they've now moved to the second stage. So wait to see how that pans out. So, but yes, tennis happening all around the world, including the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So if you missed your chance to watch the Davis Cup at Onikon, pray that you have another opportunity to do so. Yeah.
Fingers crossed. And of course, as Tega says, pray you get the opportunity because tennis on display. Let's take a brief breather. When we come back in, we'll head into the world of football. We'll be starting at Anfield, where Arne Slot says Liverpool improvement is not reflected in the results. I wonder where to be reflected, if not that. Well, that and so much more on the other side. Stay with us.
I think you're rude. You're very, very rude.
Oh, now you're telling me that it's not reflected in the results. The result is not good. So where's the improvement?
uh, the, it's in the free kick.
It's in the free
Is
kick.
it? Did you
it's
not
like
see the free kick?
it's like saying, "Oh, I'm doing poly in school, and then I do lesson, everything, and then I do
Okay,
exam.
no,
I still don't do well."
maybe you are reading better. You're just not passing the exam better. I
I'm,
didn't
I'm not
know how that works.
I'm not
I don't
passing
know
the
why you're
exam better.
asking me. I'm not the one that said it. I'm not even bald, so I can't help this conversation. It's not. This is over me. I practiced my Spanish yesterday. I was like, okay, this funny kind of guy. Because I know Hinte de Zona, I know Enrique Iglesias. I've sang that Bahama and Mayana with Cardi B. I'm like, this halftime super, it can't be bad. I'm ready. I'm prepped. I had colors. Actually, when the guy started performing, I was like, what's happening here? Why is he speaking in tongues? What I
You
didn't
shock,
one song.
you shock you. You shock you.
I say one line of one song. Even Kendrick Lamar. At least I know they're not like us. It
You
was
know,
another. I knew one. I did not know one line from this guy's song. It had nothing to do with the fact that it was Spanish. I know several Spanish songs. It's like,
of course.
how are you the most streamed guy and I've never heard a single song of yours?
How did you win Grammy?
Do you understand? Grammy is okay. Those people they are not well. They can. I don't know. That I don't know. But you see, how you are the most streamed guy on Spotify and I don't know what song is beyond me.
It is well. Okay, time for football. And we're back. Welcome into the locker room here on Smooth 98.1. If you're just tuning in, you are most welcome to the Smoothest Sporting Show on radio. My name is Ayokunmi Kekiria. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's 33 minutes past 8 a.m. It's a Monday, a fresh start to the week, and we are having so much fun on the show. Do join us on WhatsApp, join us on YouTube as well. We love to always get your messages and hear your thoughts on the sporting news that we are delving into. The WhatsApp number is 0911 999 YouTube, we're streaming live at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Smooth 981 FM Lagos. You can find us there, leave your comments, get your front row seat to all the exciting things going down in the locker room. All right, Tega, let us jump into football. Anfield Zora going to now. Liverpool boss Arne Slot insisted that his side are improving, even if results do not show it. After a dramatic 2-1 defeat to Manchester City, dealt another blow to their hopes of Champions League qualification. Like I said, Tega, if the results are not good, I don't know
No, no,
how
no.
worth
Everything is not result oriented. You have to look at performance. And look, let me tell you, first
it.
half, they were completely outplayed, outthought by Manchester City. In fact, creating most of the chances. The fact I think the fact that Manchester City were not out of sight after the first 45 minutes was even an indication of how poor Manchester City season has been all season. Because they created chances, they had opportunities. I think they had 4 shots at goal, none on target. Okay, one on target. The Erling Haaland one that was saved, but it was the craziest kind of first half because Manchester City kept getting looks, from Omar Mamouche to Haaland. The ball was just not hitting the back of the net. They did everything absolutely right. The improvement and Slot may have been talking about to be the second half, where they came out of the second half better than Manchester City, and they were now the ones creating chances. They were now the ones, terrorizing the Manchester City's defense. And fortunately for Manchester City's defense, they held up fort. Because look, suddenly Salah looked like he was about to score his usual 1 goal per match against Manchester City, and Gakpo was doing his own business on the other end. They were looking good, right up to the moment they scored that free kick. First of all, I would say for that free kick, I know everybody's saying, "Oh wow, what a great free kick." I still say maintain every day of the week and twice on Sunday. If Donnarumma did not make an attempt from that distance, he shouldn't be going to the World Cup. There's no need. That if you take balls from where they took the free kick to the goal, it's like 500 naira. It's like 500 naira by Danfo. How can you not see the free kick coming from that distance? What are you telling me? He didn't even move. He didn't even attempt let the ball beat you. He didn't even flinch. What kind of nonsense goalkeeping is that? Anyway, but after he conceded that goal, it looked like Liverpool had this game under wraps. And it wasn't a question of snatch and grab like they did at Arsenal. It looked like they built up their momentum from the start of the second half to that free kick. But as soon as they scored that goal, Manchester City came to themselves. Like the prodigal son, they remembered who they were and said, let me get up and go to my father's house. Because even the servants in my father's house eat good food. And these guys started playing inspired football. Suddenly, Rodri was not under pressure. He started making those passes we saw from him 2 seasons ago. Yes, they brought in players like Shirky to help handle the midfield, and I must admit his presence in that midfield made a great impact because suddenly the passes were flowing easily and Haaland was getting drawn into the game, or like before he'd just been a passenger in the match. But after they considered that goal, it was like Manchester City, something snapped in their head. And Bernardo Silva just remembered that he wants to win a World Cup for Cristiano Ronaldo, so he has to start prepping now. The team changed completely and they started coming at Liverpool. And then the cracks in Liverpool's defense, which have been evident all season, began to show. For me, the equalizer had no business being an equalizer. Because first of all, everybody runs offside and Szoboszlai is standing there and looking. What he's looking at, I don't know. There was no beauty pageant going on. There was no musical performance. He was just standing and staring. And then he plays Silva onside, first goal. Then the second goal, again, I'm still saying, Alisson thought he needed to come out for that. Some people were saying, oh, the ball was going out. But if you're Alisson, you rather be safe than sorry. Unfortunately, in his bid to be safe, he gave away a penalty.
I was sorry.
That was sorry. 2-1. And it didn't end there. Liverpool now started pressing for a goal. Now, if McAllister's ball had not taken a deflection, maybe, just maybe, that match would be 2-2. But 1 minute, it looks like Liverpool were going to come out with a draw. The next minute, there was drama on the other end. They conceded a goal, so it was 3-1. Then VAR looked at it and said, oh no, let's give a red card and chop off the goal. Bottom line, at the end of the day, Liverpool is now shortchanging to several matches later because now Szoboszlai is going to miss 3 matches. I mean, straight red is automatic 3-match ban.
3 matches.
Yeah, so
that's correct.
Yeah, so he's going to miss 3 matches when they could have just counted the goal and left him on the field. So here we are. So the improvement and the slots me I've been talking about was that first 30 minutes of the second half. So he's not lying. He's just not telling the entirety of the truth.
Let me not even say my mind. Let's leave the slots and his delusions for now. And let's head over to La Liga, where Atletico Madrid slumped to a 1-0 defeat at home to Real Betis on Sunday in La Liga, just 3 days after thrashing the Andalusian side in the Copa del Rey by 5-0. What a turnaround.
I've not seen that kind of thing. That's the quickest learning process. If you're talking about people that learn quickly. Just 3 days ago, they lost 5-0 to Atletico Madrid. On Sunday, they didn't just hold them down from not scoring. They scored a goal. Anthony being the scorer of that goal. And they won that match by 1-0. There is nothing that Atletico Madrid did not try to do. It was like all the Real Betis players, after losing 5-0, they just went home and they were watching that tape throughout to see where they made the mistakes and just didn't repeat it again. So tough day for Atletico Madrid. They had already fallen behind Real Madrid and Barcelona in the table, but it just made it worse. That the team that you beat 5-0, perhaps you could have just saved 2 of the goals, and you'll be walking away with 3 points. But yes, tough one. Mola looked like he had gotten an equalizer, but that was cancelled. So tough task for Atletico Madrid. But the La Liga is still clearly wide open because Real Madrid won their match last night by 2-0 to close the gap back to 1 point behind Barcelona, who won their match the day before by 3-0. So that musical chair is very well on.
Musical chairs all over Europe. We're coming to other musical chairs later, but let's make a brief stop in England. and talk about Manchester United, where their captain, Bruno Fernandes, hailed the impact that Michael Carrick has made in transforming the mood around Old Trafford with 4 consecutive wins since taking charge.
Yeah, and the Babas in Manchester are very excited now. They're about to put their clipper to use. I hope that guy doesn't have rats in his hair, but they're about to put their clipper
Oh
to
my
use. Just
goodness.
one more win. One more win. But yes, Michael Carrick has turned the match around. And like I said, he didn't have to buy new players. Just 1 or 2 tweaks that Ruben Amorim wanted to die on. I cannot believe that Kobe Meno has a chance of going to the World Cup. And at some point, he didn't have a chance of even playing football at all. Can you imagine how one guy can change a player's entire fortune? Just woke up one morning, came from Portugal and said, this guy cannot be the fulcrum. And wanted to end the poor boy's career. And that is the guy whose presence on the pitch has given Casemiro a new lease on life. That people are saying, Casemiro, are you sure you
Right.
want to leave or do you want to stay? Just one guy moving a few chess pieces here and there. Bruno a little more forward. Kobe Meno legs in the midfield. So now Casemiro is not overrun. Nandugate doesn't look like a poor hack job. Just just one guy, and everything has turned around. So yes, Michael Carrick has done what he needs to do. First of all, reminding the players, letting the players do what they know how to do, which is just play. Bruno, play your best position. Casemiro, do your best thing, and all the defenders are playing brilliantly. Look, Harry Maguire is the one defender I knew that even when he was at his lowest, he used to put in his best effort. But all of a sudden, Manchester United's back four is beginning to look like the impenetrable back four in the league. Yes, they've conceded a few goals here and there, but ultimately, even when they, defend and make 1 or 2 clearances, the way they charge the rest of the team up, you know that yes, these people are a team going somewhere. And all of a sudden, they were this close to being just 3 points behind their Manchester United, their Manchester neighbors. In fact, yesterday when Liverpool scored, the noise was so loud around me. I knew for certain that it was not Liverpool fans because Liverpool fans are not
Of
loud.
course.
I knew that the 2 people that were cheering for them were Arsenal and Man U fans. That's why the noise was that loud. And then when Liverpool lost, everywhere went back to being quiet. It was as if you're on your own, or at least we won our own match. They just left
Exactly.
them like a bad
Exactly.
habit, abandoned them like a bad habit. But yes, Manchester United, the lease of life he's put them is the way he's made them play again, made them believe again, made them enjoy their football again. You see Manchester United players on the pitch, they are happy to be there. Unlike before, you could tell that they wanted to be anywhere else but there. So at least that's a good thing Carrick has done. We wait to see if
Yes,
he gets
indeed.
the contract permanently.
Well, only time will tell. All right, let's head over to Syria real quick and talk about the musical chairs going on there. Even though it seems like the musical chairs is like somebody's looking like it's going to be the winner. Anyway, Federico Di Marco provided 3 assists as Inter Milan thumped Sassuolo 5-0 on Sunday to take their unbeaten Syria run to 12 matches, while Pierre Kalulu scored deep into added time to rescue a 2-2 draw for Juventus against Lazio.
Yes, so that Lazio Juventus match was great, but unfortunately, it has no bearing on the top of the table, which is why Inter Milan takes the lead. After Napoli had played earlier on, and they got a last-minute penalty, and I can say for free that if Papetia were the coach of Genoa, his players would have been taking a shower by the time that match referee blew that whistle, because that I still cannot see the contact that they gave that penalty for. Is all I can say. There would have been a walk off by Genoa, and especially as the penalty came in the last minute, you know. But they gave the penalty, they scored, they got all 3 points in a match, that they could have dropped 2 points, and this musical chair will be completely over because there's no music left. But yeah, he gave them a lease of life, and so Inter Milan now had to do the job to keep their 8 point gap at the top of the table. And boy, did they do a
Right.
brilliant job. They gave Sassuolo no hope. Beat them, good measure, pressed down, shaking together. It was remaining running over. And they paused at 5-0. So brilliant performance so far by Inter Milan. But if they can build a healthy gap before they now start getting overwhelmed by the excesses of the Champions League and the rest, then they'd be safe because Napoli has nothing else to fight for. Napoli and
Nothing else
AC
to fight
Milan's
for
only focus right now is
is the
the
league.
Serie A. Yeah.
Exactly. All right. Oh wow. Let's take messages because man, time flown by. A number of thoughts have come in. All right, where do I begin? Let's see. I'll start with Felix, who is in Mende, Maryland, who says, "Good morning, Mr. Ayokunmi and Madam Tega Supreme. The EPL weekend fixtures were so interesting. Man United is really playing well. At least hope they win their next match so their fan can have a haircut. Real Madrid kept up the momentum. Thank you so very much." AY from Uniru says, sad loss for Atletico last night to Real Betis. Anthony scored a wonder goal. Also, Lamine Yamal is seriously cooking this season in the league. Let him cook and cook well. Let him be half done. He's cooking. This is Wale who says, honestly, they should sack the Liverpool manager. League winner from last season. No, now let's calm down. Let's let him stay on his mandates, which I'll stand on his mandates. So we're standing. This is Julius from the island who says, good morning, guys. I don't know if Mr. Slot is high on his own supply. I can't place why he has not been sacked. Calm down now. Liverpool are just a comedy company at this point. Even Amorim combined with Maresca was not this bad. No.
That's not true.
No, now. Amorim. Amotekun. Okay. He then says, my team is now at par with Burnley. Shaking my head. Tega, was that not a red card for Gehi? And I thought Salah deserved a penalty. The EPL refs moving like Nigerian politicians.
Okay, so exactly. I wanted to touch on that incident. I think they are claiming that because Ruben Diaz was in position, that Gehi was not the last man, that he would have been able to make it. But I don't think so. I think if Salah had moved that ball, he was gone.
I should think so. I should think so as well. All right, this is a message from Dapo who says, good morning, guys. Tega, please free Donnarumma. Expecting him to move to that free kick is like expecting David James to move to CR7's free kick 20 plus years ago. No goalkeeper in the world comes close to saving that free kick. Okay.
I didn't say he should save. I say he should make an attempt.
Just try. E for
just
effort.
Try.
E for effort. That sort of thing. Biggie from K2 says, good morning, locker room warriors. Good morning. Thank you, Tega, for saying that about that free kick. When Soboslai did the same against Raya made an attempt to stop it, and Big Donna just stood there like a native pole in my village. I have still made my momentum that only Arsenal have what it takes to win this league. We don't need favor from rival clubs because when we win it, the club won't do 2K giveaways to other clubs that did favor for us. Let it be very competitive before we are called worst champions. Did I call you worst champions? You're still champion. They can't take that away from anybody. At the end of the day, call me worst champion. No, I'm still champion. Maximus A from Bagada says, deserving masterclass. I don't understand how you use a three center back formation against a 4-3-3 PSG with high attacking fullbacks like Nuno Mendes. Can we now agree that Tottenham is a mid-table team since thriving only on hype and the past glory of Bale and Modric? They didn't even have past glory to start with. Thomas Frank needs to leave that club and save his remaining family name. Lastly, Kobe Mano is good. Prime N'Golo Kante still. Michael Carrick for president. All right. Tayo Naja says, English tennis like their football. It's very impressive, but no trophy to show for his tired.
Yay, good.
Uzbekistan needs to know that this is Nigeria and we didn't use our full power. Pause. Man to man, does Arne Slot believe what he said? Anthony said, I'm going to my own after being knocked out. I'm going to do my own after being knocked out. Bruno hitting Carrick over his fellow Amrim. This is political statements. Is Man United a political party? We're not Real Madrid, please. Let's be guided here. This is Tunji from Lewis Street who says, very unhappy with Sabalenka right now. The way she used a psychological technique to intimidate Coco Gauff. Well, that is life. It happens like that. All right, YouTube very quickly. Uche Nawokoye says, Liverpool versus City, what a game. End-to-end open football. Best result for the league. United doing amazing work. West Ham loading. Let's make it 5 wins in a row. Arsenal still in your hands. Truly. Padre Payo says, Liverpool did as expected and cleared the road to Arsenal. Now it's up to them to bottle it. Real Madrid keeping pace with Barca. Good one. Football keeps giving. LK Adaraba says, not me following Tega while she was tweeting live about the halftime show. The show was a vibe, a whole vibe. The only problem is we don't speak Spanish. Emmanuel says, Tega, I ask again, how do you like me now? We're in February. The elephant is still sitting up top.
I don't like the way you're shouting. It's only 6 points. So remember, the last time it's 8 points and you still lost the league. Calm down. Be humble.
Oh my goodness. Vajipayo says, I please think on this part for next season. Let's have an FPL for locker room fans. I'm retiring from FPL, Padre. I'm retiring. My mental health needs resetting. I'm retiring this season. I'm done. It's too stressful. I can't deal anymore. Anyways, Tega. Take us home.
All right. Thank you so much for sending all your messages. We couldn't go through every single one of them, but thank you so much for sending your messages via WhatsApp. Thank you for streaming on YouTube. And thank you for tuning into Smooth 98.1 FM to listen to the locker room. Remember to follow us on all our social media platforms as we're releasing content that I'm sure you will enjoy. All right. And on that note, go out there and please don't do your week like an Esloto who thought he had won match at 70 something
Mm,
minutes.
mm.
Make sure you wait till the final whistle has been blown like Manchester City. Follow your
Wow.
project to the final end and come out
Yes.
with this great victory. All right? On that
Amen.
note, go out there and conquer.
Thank you so much, Tega. Go out there, conquer, have a great Monday. And thank you all for being a part of the locker room this Monday morning here on Smooth 98.1. Keep it tuned. 9 o'clock, a conversation will be had on Lagos Talks. Mrs. will be joining me to talk about what's going down. We'll be looking at the Electoral Reform Act, Buhaha, and everything in between. My name is Ayokunmi. This is Smooth 98.1.